Yo everybody, welcome back. Today we will be doing another reaction. And this is not an ETU animated stories reaction, a video I'm reacting to. This one is a private diary story. Okay? This is the one I'm going for. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it.
Protective of me. Hi, I'm Roxy. My parents were always overprotective of me. I'm not exaggerating at all. Just imagine how many times I got upset when none of my classmates came to my birthday party.
Wait, pause. None of your classmates came to your birthday party? Sad.
And it was all because instead of cakes, Coke, and chips, my mom expected my guests to eat healthy fruits and vegetables. Every day my parents...
Wait, so her mom thinks that 6-7-year-old kids are gonna be like, alright, we're gonna come here, we're gonna eat carrots and eat some lettuce and some fruits. Forget it.
Brought me to school and picked me up immediately after classes. Because according to Dad, I could get into an accident on the school bus.
An accident on the school... Yeah, your mind can be open to such things, but like, no.
Don't forget
I'm gonna stop pausing now.
to fasten your seatbelt. Long story short, my parents were afraid of absolutely everything and controlled my every move. They believed that if they turned away for even a second, a maniac would immediately attack me or I would catch some contagious disease. It's a wonder they weren't afraid of aliens kidnapping me. Although, as you might have guessed, my classmates made fun of me and I had no friends. We better not invite Roxy to hang out
Bro, you could be my friend. It really don't matter.
with us or her helicopter parents will come running and ruin everything. That
Oh,
year,
wow.
I graduated from high school and found my first part-time job in a cafe. I finally felt like an adult and hoped that my parents would also stop treating me like a defenseless child. Sweetie, we will try very hard not to meddle in your personal life. Her "will try very hard" bothered me. I was carrying an order to a cafe visitor and got distracted looking at the TV screen that was showing a new movie. You see, I had been dreaming about entering the acting department for a long time, but I didn't dare tell my parents because they would have immediately started to dissuade me. Anyway, I was so caught up in my dreams, imagining myself in the place of the actress in the movie, that I stumbled.
Alright. I called it. She's gonna drop the food and then they're gonna complain or her parents is gonna run in. Let's see if I'm right.
And accidentally dropped the entire tray with the order on the visitor.
I was right.
Oops. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I grabbed napkins and began to brush the spaghetti off the man's jacket. I was hoping he would forgive my clumsiness. I really hadn't done it on purpose. Could happen to anyone. But he got up, frowned, and began to complain. And then, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a man at the far table putting down his newspaper. I saw his face, and it turned out to be my dad.
Oh,
He
wow.
approached the visitor and began to defend me. "What are you grumbling about here?" She apologized, and your jacket didn't get any worse from it. The man gaped in surprise. However, he wasn't the only one. I hadn't expected to see my dad at work either. I took him aside and sternly asked him what he was doing here. Dad lowered his eyes guiltily and confessed that he and Mom sometimes came to the cafe in secret and watched over me so that no one would hurt me.
Wow.
I was terribly angry with my parents.
Are they God or
hadn't even
something?
tried to keep their promise and leave me alone. At home, I found a gift with a note of apology from them. What I saw in the box was the last straw for me. There was a doll and a pretty dress lying there. I realized that Mom and Dad did everything so that I wouldn't grow up and stay.
Wait, hold up. Is she a baby? That's what I want to know. They're acting like she's a little child.
Their little girl. I've had enough. I'm moving out. I packed up my belongings and savings, left a note to my parents that said I was already an adult and could take care of myself, and left while they were at work. I decided it was time to follow my dreams. Hollywood, wait for me. I found a place to stay on a real estate website and went to auditions to win over famous producers with my acting skills. But the thing was, oh dear, thanks for making us laugh. Your acting is okay for school productions, but you are overacting too much to be cast in a real movie. Next.
Oh,
the
wow.
same thing happened at every audition. I didn't even think about giving up. I wanted to prove to my parents and even more so to myself that I was an independent adult. In the evening, I went to the supermarket to buy groceries for dinner. The queue was moving so slowly that I got bored and decided to watch a movie on my phone. I was lost in my thoughts again, so I did not notice the queue moving forward and stayed in place. A man standing behind me accidentally pushed me with his cart. I lost my balance and fell forward, crushing all my products, and at the same time, breaking some cans on the counter. Oh no,
That's
I could
bad.
wave goodbye to my dinner. I hadn't even got up yet when the store manager ran up to me and started waving his arms. Who will pay for it all? I was about to burst into tears in front of everyone because I couldn't afford the extra expenses. But then the man who had pushed me with his cart helped me up and kindly agreed to compensate for the damage to the store. I'm sorry, let me pay for your purchases. After all, you fell because of me. Of course, I had fallen because I had been distracted, but I did not
Why is she
refuse such
watching
generosity.
Netflix on
My
her
last
phone,
savings
though?
would have been spent on those products. I was returning home and noticed that a strangely dressed man was following me. If I sped up or slowed
I bet it was her father.
down, he did the same. When he turned into an empty alley after me, I got so scared I started running. I only managed to lose them near my home. If my parents found out about it, they would go crazy. Soon, I forgot about that incident and continued to stubbornly go to the auditions, but no one offered me even a tiny role. I was left penniless. The time to pay rent for the apartment had come. Are my parents right? Do I really need someone to take care of me? Then I remembered the incident in the supermarket and immediately had a brilliant idea. I'd seen Dad repair plumbing in the kitchen many times, so I easily loosened a valve in the kitchen and got a couple of things wet. I put on a real show in front of my landlord. Just look at it. All my things are ruined because of faulty plumbing. It doesn't look like a pipe break and I don't see any damage. Oh, is that right? Then I'm moving out of this kennel immediately. I don't think after my review on the website someone else will risk renting such a terrible apartment. The landlord
Oh wow, she's legit. Oh my god.
was so scared that he allowed me not to pay rent that month as compensation. I couldn't believe it. My plan had worked. Those producers don't understand anything. I'm an excellent actress. That same day, I went out to the parking lot, slightly dirtied my clothes, and stood by a small puddle. When my neighbor drove over it, I began to act heartbroken and cried that my clothes were ruined because of the driver's carelessness. I just bought this expensive dress yesterday, and now I won't be able to go to an important meeting in it. The neighbor
Wait, is she a con artist now? Not con artist, what am I talking about?
jumped out of the car and scrutinized me. She started saying that it was my fault for standing on the roadway, but I acted so convincingly that she felt ashamed. The woman apologized and offered to pay for my dress to get dry
Aw,
cleaned.
damn.
Well, aren't I clever? I was walking in the park when I noticed that suspicious man who had been stalking me
Her
again.
father.
He was peeking out from behind the trees and started taking pictures of me from afar. I was afraid that he would start following me again and approached a passerby to ask for help. But while I was waving my arms and telling them about my pursuer, he had already disappeared into the crowd. You are crazy. For a couple of days, I was afraid I would see that strange guy again, so I didn't leave the apartment. But when I accidentally caught on a hook and tore my dress, I realized that it was time to earn money for a new one. I went down to the cafe, waited for the right moment, and bumped into some guy. And then I acted perfectly. I caught my dress on the clasp on your clothes, and it tore. What am I supposed to do now? But instead of taking out his wallet, the guy suddenly laughed. Your dress was already torn. You're a bad actress, but if you want to learn cool tricks and become convincing, let's go for a walk. I was so stunned. The guy had seen through my plan but wasn't even
damn.
angry. Of course, his words
Bro, how
intrigued
did
me,
he
and
get-
I
how
agreed to
did he
take a
get
walk
her?
in the park. The guy introduced himself as Nick and said that he was the creator of an agency for solving unusual problems. I'd never heard of it, but Nick explained that he and his team helped those who were in awkward situations. I still don't understand anything. You'll see for yourself. I hadn't noticed that while we talked, we had reached an inconspicuous building without any sign on it. Nick suggested I come into their office.
Don't
At
go in
first,
there.
I thought it was a joke, and we had come to some madhouse. The office was in complete chaos. A girl was sitting at a table and talking to someone on the phone in an old woman's voice. A man was gluing a mustache to his face and pulling on a wig. Another man was making faces at the mirror while looking at some paper. Don't be scared. We just have a very important task. We were hired by a girl who wants to break up with a guy but is afraid of hurting his feelings. So the actors from my team will play her crazy family so that he would want to break up with her himself. Nick suggested I practice my acting and become part of their team, especially since they needed more people, preferably girls. I was delighted with the opportunity. Of course, it wasn't a role in a movie, but the agency was paying well, and I could learn a lot from those professionals. The responsibility was much higher because if I failed, I wouldn't have the opportunity to reshoot a bad take. My acting had to be flawless. I watched the work of the team for a long time before Nick suggested I play my first role. The agency was contacted by a guy called Parker. He, let me just say, didn't date girls. His parents didn't know about it, and he was terribly afraid of their reaction.
Okay, so let me get this straight. This agency here basically deals with people's problems like that? Nice.
So he planned to fake his own wedding. I need to introduce my parents to a lovely wife, and then I'll just move to another state with my boyfriend. Roxy, you're perfect for this role.
I
You can
knew
do
it.
I was very worried, but was happy about the opportunity. I spent the whole evening before the fake wedding rehearsing, and then suddenly noticed that stalker in the window.
Run.
He was standing in the parking lot and taking pictures of my window. It was so creepy. I closed the curtains and tried not to think about him anymore. But in the morning, while going to work, I ran into him at the door. The man wasn't watching me from afar, but came up to me and tried to grab my elbow. Your name is Roxana Furman, isn't it? I pulled my arm back in horror. How did he know my name? The man was still shouting something after me, but I had already managed to run away and didn't hear him. Everything went according to plan in the church.
Nice.
The team from the agency mixed with the guests and acted like my relatives. Parker and I also never broke character and portrayed happy lovebirds. He introduced me to his parents. They looked at each other meaningfully, but I think they liked me. What a nice girl. Son, where have you been hiding her all this time? Finally, the wedding march began to play. Nick, who was watching me from the sidelines, nodded approvingly, and I solemnly walked down the aisle. Everything was going perfectly, too perfectly even. Right when I was about to say yes to the fake groom, someone unceremoniously broke into the church. Stop the wedding. Oh no, those were my parents. They ran up to the altar, grabbed me from both sides, and dragged me to the exit, right in front of the shocked guests. Don't you understand? You're going to ruin everything. But my attempts to escape were unsuccessful, and my parents sat me in the car. The unpleasant surprises did not end there. Inside, I saw that creepy guy who had been following me. I was about to scream in panic, but my parents explained that it was a private detective they had hired. He was the one who had brought them to me. My parents brought me home and started to lecture me, saying how terrible my choices had been, and that nothing bad had happened to me only by miracle. I felt awful and was terribly upset that I had let Nick and Parker down. The worst thing was that my parents didn't believe me when I said I'd become a part of a cool team and failed an important task because of their suffocating care. Don't be silly. This scoundrel took advantage of your naivety, and you foolishly almost married him. You'll thank us later. Then the doorbell rang. It was Nick. I was afraid that he'd come to tell me off for the failed job, but suddenly he smiled and told my parents the truth. Roxy is really cool. She not only earns money with her talent, but also helps people. And she has also grown a lot as an actress during the time she spent with our team. But my parents still didn't believe me.
Bro, I was like going silent, man. I'm being captivated by the story. Sorry for the lack of commentary.
And then it dawned on me. Mom, Dad, have you even looked at the photos the detective took while stalking me? Or the videos? My parents looked at each other in surprise and began
Busted!
looking through the detective's materials. It dawned on me that, at first, I really had acted like a child hoping to get everything at once and deceiving others for easy money. However, I had then learned to be responsible and independent, but my parents agreed that such an experience was necessary for me, and finally sincerely promised not to interfere in my life. Since everything
Are you sure about that?
is clear now, are you ready to keep working with us? Do you even have to ask? Of course I'm ready. But isn't Parker angry that everything turned out like this? Nick said that everything had turned out even better than they had hoped. It turned out that his parents had been suspicious of the sudden wedding and the too young bride, so they had been only too glad that the wedding had failed. Parker told him his little secret and set off to travel around Australia with a light heart. As for me, I returned to the agency and eventually gave back the money to everyone I had deceived. Of course, I understand that my parents took care of me out of love, so I'm happy that now they have complete confidence in me. Now I work in an agency and am preparing to enter the acting department. Do you think I can do it? Write in the comments down below.
Okay, I love this story. Okay, let me be honest here. This story was amazing. Well done. I like the animations and stuff. If you want to see more things by Private Diary, I have some more MSA coming up, My Story Animated. So if you want to see more, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.